For many years, the thought of wearing a hearing aid came with a little bit of denial or even embarrassment, and one of the reasons was wearing a hearing aid was just so obvious. And also people would struggle to hear clearly, even with a hearing aid. Well, not anymore. There have been huge advances in hearing technology that not only improve the look, but also the functionality of the devices. Carolyn Gelati is the Doctor of Audiology with Hearing Health Solutions and Ohio ENT, and she joins me now with more. Hi, Carolyn. Nice
Hello.
to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So interesting. I know before we get to the gadgets, and there are so many, what I mentioned about the denial and the embarrassment, how do you get people, first of all, to come see you, to get over that part?
Well, it's always a struggle because people, especially with hearing loss, are just, they feel like they can manage it. They feel that it's something that they can just deal with. But, you know, it comes to a point where others in your family are affected by it. And, you know, those are typically the people that kind of push that individual to come in, where it's just to the point where it's affecting their daily lives enough that they're struggling.
You brought some newer devices. Things have changed in the last 5 years?
Lots of things have changed in the last 5 years. And lots of things have changed in the last year or so.
Wow.
But, you know, two of the areas that really patients have struggled with in the past are hearing in noisy situations and being able to better communicate and in those kinds of areas. Those really have been the primary focus for manufacturers over the past couple of years, and they've made a lot of advances in how to better communicate in those situations, not only in the hearing aid devices, but also with other assistive devices as well.
What do you have? So say my father really has a problem in crowded restaurants, can't hear, or there's that feedback that they hate. And I know there are new ways now to tackle those issues.
Correct. So in the hearing aid itself, they've really pushed on getting that chip to better recognize when they're in a situation for noise and how to focus in on the speech and pull that speech information in so the patient's able to hear it better. Also, you mentioned feedback. Those things are consistently a common problem, so they have better ways to suppress that whistling, that squealing, so patients won't experience that as often. And
when we say hearing aid, I know it's an aid. How much better will someone hear with a hearing aid?
Well, the expectation is never to hear 100% again with a hearing aid, but if we can get you to a place where you're noticing a significant difference with a hearing device over not wearing a hearing aid device, that's essentially the goal.
You brought a lot of things that can tie into other devices. Laptop, I can't even imagine how it works. And my staff is laughing at me because they know I'm technically challenged. So this was really like, oh, how does it work?
Yeah.
Give me some examples.
Yeah, so hearing aids now, the way they have the ability to actually put chips in the device that allow us to communicate wirelessly with all of our external devices. We know technology is pushing forward consistently. So, you know, specifically Bluetooth devices where, you know, the patient would kind of wear something around their neck. This would allow them to communicate with a cell phone, with the television, utilizing, you know, another device that it would communicate on that a patient would connect to their TV. Also, you know, looking at specifically devices for in those noisy situations. So say a patient isn't doing well with just a hearing aid on its own, we can utilize a clip that a patient would use with a significant other or somebody else who is talking that would send that signal as the person who is speaking directly into the patient's hearing aids, thus allowing a better signal-to-noise ratio and kind of moving.
So these aren't hearing aids per se. They're devices to work with the hearing aids.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And since we are, a lot of us, technically challenged, is it going to be hard for these folks to figure out how to use these things?
It's actually pretty simple, and your hearing healthcare professional is very informed in how to connect these devices, and a lot of them are just a simple hookup at home or a, you know, connection in the office while you're with your hearing professional.
And I know you have a promotion at Hearing Solutions now, Hearing Health Solutions. So what's that about?
So what that is, you know, for those patients that really notice that they are struggling as far as with their current hearing aids, if they're interested in learning about new technology, if they want to trade up and see what new is out there that can really benefit them, we have an option with next week, running all week. They can come in, learn about the new information, and trade in their old hearing aids and get brand new ones. So.
Good time. I mean, if things are changing that fast, everybody should take advantage.
Yes, yes.
Good stuff. Thanks, Carolyn. Nice to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.